about tornado sirens. I can't imagine how scary that would sound, you know, not knowing that it's coming and all of a sudden you now hear that, like I don't know how it sounds, however it sounds. That would be very, very scary to hear. So let me see what all that is about.
Tornado sirens. Picture the scene. You're out chilling on your front lawn. There's a tornado watch and all of a sudden, dark clouds roll in. There's an eeriness in the atmosphere. The birds stop chirping. The leaves have turned over. And there's an old lady down the street who claims that there's a pain in her knee, which only comes before severe storms.
Really?
And felt these.
Like, okay, maybe the vibrations, right? The vibrations could cause that kind of thing. Like, that is, wow, that is interesting.
Pains like this for a long time.
And you're looking around, and then all of a sudden.
Ooh, that's how it sounds. That's how it sounds.
What is that?
Here we go again.
The tornado siren sound. And it's just straight up terrifying. These things sound creepy and scary as heck. But they sound scary
creepy
for a reason. They serve an important role in warning you of an impending danger, such as a tornado or an atomic bomb. We'll get to that.
Oh,
even
wow.
the shape of these things is scary. I mean, that square horn shape, they look scary, they sound scary. Perhaps that's why they make such great creepypasta internet lore cryptids. Some people absolutely love sirens. Like, there are straight up tornado siren fandoms out there. Tornado siren enthusiasts out there that travel. Like, there's so many YouTube channels about tornado sirens. Some people are absolutely terrified of them, which makes sense. To me, I absolutely love them. I'm all about them. Anyway, we're going to talk about them. We're going to talk about their history. We're going to talk about their future. We're going to talk about different models, different sounds. We're going to talk about what I think are the creepiest sounding tornado sirens, aka civil defense sirens, aka air raid sirens, because technically they're not meant for tornadoes. But before we get into any of that, be sure to subscribe for more tornado related content. Let's get into the video. Now, first things first, let's quickly talk about the history of sirens. Back in 1799, a Scottish physicist by the name of John Robison invented the very first siren. His initial intentions were to use his invention for the creation of beautiful music. His device used a high-speed rotating disc with uniformly spaced holes all around it to make noise when a jet of air is propelled through it. Robison's innovation was further improved on in the 1800s by Cagnier de la Tour and Professor Joseph Henry. Here's an example of what Cagnier de la Tour siren sounded like.
That sounds irritating.
Fun fact, this siren could also work underwater. Many sirens of the 1800s were steam-powered and often used as foghorns for lighthouses. Skipping ahead to the 20th century, we have the oldest still-in-use siren today. That is the Federal Signal Model 2. Another notable US siren during the 1930s was the DCOT siren. A lot of these sirens were used for fires, for other ways to get the public's attention, but at the dawn of World War II, their use would become a little more sinister. In September 1939, London experienced its first air raid siren alert, and during World War II, the use of air raid sirens would become standard.
No time now for asking what to do, where to go.
But for this video, we want to skip to post-World War II sirens, specifically looking at the US with the Civil Defense Act. After World War II, the subject of civil defense received little attention. That is until 1949. The year the Soviet Union tested its first atomic weapon. Immediately following the test, there was a sense of urgency among the American people and administration to enact safety policies in the event of an attack. As a result, President Harry S. Truman issued an executive order establishing the Federal Civil Defense Administration. This legislation included funding for defensive equipment from the federal government to the states and local communities. Most of the funding went into creating fallout shelters. However, some of the funding went towards installing large outdoor sirens in cities and towns. These sirens would then be used to alert local populations of an incoming atomic bomb.
And if you hear it, as you drive in your auto, as you sit in your office, or work at your bench, wherever you are, what will you do?
Of course, this channel is about tornadoes, not about nuclear bombs. So why are we talking about nuclear bombs? Well, it was these sirens that were put into place that have become the modern tornado sirens of today. I mean, obviously they've updated some sirens, but the original tornado sirens were all federal civil defense sirens. Okay, but when did they start using sirens with tornado warnings? Well, let's talk about the history of tornado warnings real quick. During the 1880s, Sergeant John P. Finley of the U.S. Signal Corps conducted studies on tornadoes and the circumstances surrounding them. Using his observations, Finley started issuing tornado alerts for long periods of time over a wide geographic area, very comparable to the tornado watches we have today. Edward S. Holden created a short-term local tornado warning system based on Finley's research. This idea consisted of telegraph wires around the southwest corner of a town that would snap in strong winds. Alarm bells and a cannon would then automatically sound in the town in the event of a damaged telegraph circuit, which would be terrifying and cool.
Yeah.
Local tornado warnings were, however, generally frowned upon by many scientists and experts at the time. For this reason, the actual word tornado was banned. Like, it was straight up banned. That is until the government began to start worrying about expensive military equipment on military bases located within tornado-prone areas. The first official tornado warning occurred in 1948 at Tinker Air Force Base. The first tornado warning was conducted by Major Ernst Fallbush and Captain Robert Miller. A tornado watch was issued at 1450 Central Standard Time and included a warning for Tinker Air Force Base between 1600 and 1800 Central Standard Time. This prompted the base to implement a tornado strategy for damage mitigation and employee safety. Around 1800 Central Standard Time, a tornado struck the base, verifying the warning and ushering in the modern era of tornado warnings. The very first use of a civil defense siren to warn a community of an incoming tornado happened on June 11th, 1958 in Wichita, Kansas, a day after the infamous El Dorado tornado. However, this was a pretty exceptional event because technically civil defense sirens were not to be used for natural disasters. They're meant strictly for nuclear bombs. The fact that Wichita used those, I'm glad they did. Alright, I'm glad they did, but they probably weren't allowed to do so. This means that almost all of the tornado warnings throughout the 50s and the 60s had no tornado sirens to accompany them. That would all change in the 70s when President Richard Nixon's term saw a number of notable natural disasters, specifically Hurricane Camille in 1969. And this led the government to permit dual use of sirens for both atomic attacks and natural disasters. Okay, so what are the different tones, models, and types of sirens? So you have two basic siren designs. You have the electromechanical, aka classic siren design, which has a chopper that spins super fast from an electric motor, which sucks in air through little holes. Then you have electronic sirens that are literally like electric speakers, like that you have in stadiums and places like that.
This sounds better.
So let's talk about some different siren alerts and what they mean. There's the alert sound, which is just a steady increased. This is typically used for tornadoes, at least historically speaking. It's been used for tornadoes and other natural disasters.
That sounds good. Not that scary.
And then there's the attack tone, which is, it goes up and down, back and forth. It sounds a little bit like this.
It's not the same thing. This doesn't sound scary to me though.
So while the first one...
It only sounds scary because you know what is coming. That means whether it's a tornado, whether it's an atomic bomb, whatever it is, it's because of the fact that you know what is coming. That is why it's scary. But the sound itself is not really scary. But I do get why it is scary because you are like, oh shit, it's coming. Whatever is coming is coming.
I went, ooh, the other one goes, in a rare instance, there's a high-low sound, which is something...
I don't know, that is just funny the way he's doing it. I can't imagine shooting a video and trying to do this, man. Like, I can do that in a reaction, but I'm like making a short documentary like this and doing ooh, ooh. Man, no.
Sometimes used for fires, but can be used for other purposes. Sounds like this. And then there's the creepiest of all of them, the alternating wail, which kind of mixes the high-low with the attack mode, and it sounds like this.
That sounds horrible. Not scary, just horrible.
Easily the creepiest sound of all of them. And we'll talk more about that later. All right, let's talk about some siren tones. First off, you have a single tone siren, which can be at different pitches, but it sounds like this. There's also something called a dual tone siren, and these are a little more familiar and a little more creepy. Here's what a dual tone siren sounds like.
I like this one.
That back to the single tone.
I prefer
Okay, now
I prefer that dual tone, the dual tone one. I prefer that one than the single tone.
dual tones can have different pitch intervals depending on different ports. Have a listen. Can you hear the different pitch intervals? To me, the 810 sounds creepier. It's just got this like slightly angelic but slightly scary vibe to it.
Yeah.
Okay, and when you're in an area, usually there's multiple sirens, sometimes different models. So you're not just getting one siren, you're getting like a couple sirens that are rotating around, little Doppler effect action, creating different pitches and noises, and it all adds up to this really kind of eerie atmosphere.
Woo, in the night. Very eerie.
So here are some famous electromechanical siren models. Okay, first off, we're going to talk about the OG civil defense siren, the one from the early 50s, developed between 1949 and 1952. That is the Federal Signal Thunderbolt siren. Siren enthusiasts love this, and so do I. I mean, it looks pretty sweet, and it sounds pretty cool too. Let's have a listen. There are three different models of this. There's the 1000 single tone model, the 1000T dual tone, and the 1003, which can do that alternating well. So that's the Thunderbolt. Other notable mechanical Federal sirens include the 2T-22, the 3T-22, the STH-10, and the 2001 model. The 2001 model is very, very common in like modern towns. It's still electromechanical, it's not electronic. Another noteworthy brand is the Alerting Communicators of America, or ACA. They have a few different electromechanical siren designs. The most notable are the Alerter, the Cyclone, the Hurricane, the Penetrator, and the Screamer. Moving on to electric. My favorite electric siren is definitely the Federal Signal Modulator. These have also been called the...
This video is soon turned into some kind of an engineering video. I should have taken some coffee before I watched this video. Seriously. My brain is going all over the place. It's more like I'm trying to learn some kind of technical stuff right now. Wow.
Chicago siren and the scary tornado siren. The reason why they're called that is these have the ability to create that alternating wail sound that I talked about earlier in the video.
Shouldn't they be running when they see something like that? When they hear something like that?
Creepy, but they sound pretty sweet as well. Two other electric models I want to talk about are the Whelen Vortex and the Whelen WPS series. So another thing that can make electric sirens scarier than electromechanical sirens is the fact that you can use a recorded voice with these. So sometimes it'll be going off and all of a sudden it'll be like, "Take shelter now."
This is a test. This is always a test.
Which kind of adds, you know, I mean, it's not that scary, but I don't know. If you have a favorite civil defense siren, be sure to throw it in the chat, in the comments, I mean, by chat. Okay, so let's talk about the future of tornado sirens. There are many amongst today's community that find the tornado sirens to be, well, not really useful anymore. Since we live in the age of cell phones and technology and applications, we can easily get alerts on our phones. For this reason, many believe that tornado sirens are redundant. But redundancy, in my opinion, is a good thing when we're talking about people's lives, all right? Sometimes people are sleeping, yo. Okay, I personally keep my cell phone on silent.
That's actually interesting. Seriously, like, it makes a very good point. Why are people calling it redundant? We are not all awake at the same time. Like some person may be sleeping. Even if it comes in the afternoon, some person could have been working a night shift. So the afternoon and the morning is the only time that they could sleep. So they put off their phone, maybe put it on do not disturb or things like that. And I mean, seriously, it's not redundant. It's not redundant. We are not all awake at the same time. So you need to awake some people that may not be awake, or people that are almost dead anyway. It depends. Like, you just have to have something that you can use to alert everyone. You know, what if someone just lost their cell phone and they could not get the alert? You know, anything could happen. So I think it's not redundant.
And I'm definitely not alone. I know other people that do this as well. So for those people, you want some tornado sirens.
Yep.
So it's of my opinion that we should keep these around for as long as possible. Plus, I love them. The outside tornado siren system is not without its flaws, though. First off, many communities lack outdoor sirens, particularly those in small towns and rural areas. Currently, the NOAA weather radio is the preferred choice for an in-home warning system.
Okay. This guy's channel is just about tornadoes. That is incredible. Like, I can't imagine someone starting a channel just for tornadoes, but apparently it's working for him, and kudos to him. Great video. You know, towards the end there, you know, they were talking. He was talking about redundancy, you know, when it comes to alerts, and I was arguing about the fact that the sirens are very necessary because not all of us are awake. But if you also think about it, you know, we are in a technology era now, so you could put alerts, you know, devices in your house, things like that. So maybe you may not need it, but what if you are not in your house? What if you just fell asleep on some bench somewhere, or fell asleep in a park? You know, like, you know, that kind of a thing. So you still have to just keep the sirens, keep all the options open. Can't just say, okay, since we are in this modern era, so we don't need sirens anymore. You have your phones, you can have your alert devices and all that kind of a thing. No, just keep all options open, because like he said, we are dealing with people's lives here. Anyway, let me know what you guys think down in the comments. This was an interesting one. Not that scary to watch because tornadoes weren't really shown, but still cool. So I'll see you on the next one. Peace.